Everybody, again, my apologies. Took 3 hours to get here from Queens, so we're gonna start now and get right through this. So at this time, I will open the Wednesday, August 20th meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Let's rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, we will start with the roll call. Just go around the room here. Ms. Delvecchio is absent. We can start with that. Ms. Hall is here. Mr. Sober is here. I am here. Mr. Kroll is here. Mr. Cousins is here. Mr. Deacon is here. Good? All right. Okay. So, a couple things are going to go on tonight. So, while we have everybody here, before people leave the room, we're going to take special exception and do at the beginning. For anybody in this town who doesn't know, we're going to say congratulations to our town planner over there, Rob Labrandy. For anybody who doesn't know, he's defended his title, and he is a world champion, again, 2 years in a row, winning the International Sport Karate Association World Heavyweight Black Belt Power Breaking Championship in Orlando this year. 2 years in a row. Right? Last year when we did it at the end. There wasn't enough people. So we did it at the beginning this year. Good guy. All right. So, we have a few things tonight. We're going to do something we don't usually do besides start late, which is we have tonight the presentation of the mall study. And what we're going to do is we're going to combine that with the applications for the mall itself to change the zones and those applications. So we're going to do it all at once. So to make that happen, we're going to go out of order, and I'm going to ask for a motion to do that, and then we'll go forward. So we're going to put the mall study presentation and 2515, the text amendment for the MDD zone, next, and then 2512, the text amendment for the POOZ zone, next, and then we'll go into 2514, the cannabis moratorium, 2513, the text amendment for the POOZ Central, and then 2516, the application for the 25 subdivision at 35 Broadway. So I'll take a motion for us to do that. Mr. Deacon, second. Mr. Silva, all in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay. So, I think what I'll do right now is how we're going to handle this is what we've done before. Is we're going to talk about it all at once. So what we're going to do is we are going to open the hearing for 2515, right? And I'll read that. The applicant, Town of Trumbull Planning and Zoning Department, is requesting to modify Trumbull zoning regulations by revising Article 2, Section 3.4 of the Mixed Use Design District Regulation. Copy of the regulation on file with Trumbull P&Z office and the Trumbull Town Clerk, file 2515. And then we are also going to do 2512 at the same time. This one, the mall study. Okay, Trumbull Mall Area Market Feasibility Land Use Study Presentation. So I think Ms. Bacalar is going to come up and give us a quick overview of what we're going to do here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Rena Bacalar, Director of Economic and Community Development for the town. We have a robust agenda tonight, so I'm going to be extremely brief. What you're going to hear tonight is a very, very high point summary of what is contained within the mall study. And that is the background so that you can then discuss the text amendments, because it will set the stage as to why we're taking these next steps potentially here tonight. So I want to introduce Gary Sorge with Stantec. He's a member of our consulting team who has done an outstanding job working with the town on this project, many others. He's also, I have to say, a Trumbull resident. So Gary, if you want to come up, we can dive right in, Mr. Chairman, if that's how you prefer.
Yes. So just a quick exchange with you as we begin for the commissioner's benefit and for the public. So what we're about to hear is the mall study, as we've all said. And they're going to give us the details. And what I'd like to do is let them get through the whole presentation, and then we'll go into the application itself and we'll take some questions. But I need everybody to understand, as well as people in the public, that what we're looking about is everyone is concerned with the future of the mall, right? And the future of the mall, what it could be. And that's what this project is all about. What could the future of the mall be? And it's almost like the sales pitch hypothetical. Here's what we can do, and we want to be prepared for it. So that's what we're ready to hear tonight, right?
Exactly, thank you. I think that process you laid out works well so that Mr. Sorge can get through the presentation and give people this high point presentation. I believe all commissioners got a link to the study and in their packages. That's a much more detailed document. Thank you.
Irina. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the... I'll say that again. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, Attorney Cardone. And as Rena mentioned, you have the plan. You've had an opportunity to read through that plan. Perhaps you've attended some of the sessions that our consultant team led with the town over the past year and a half or so. We are going to provide very high level the why, what, and the how behind the plan and the recommendations that are leading to tonight's proposed amendments. So, we have some slides to share with you, and we'll go through relatively quickly. This is the study area that you're seeing here. Again, the illustrations that are being shown tonight are in the plan. If you have a difficult time reading anything, you can always revert back to the copy that was provided to you. So this is the study area. It essentially constitutes the mall itself and an area to the opposite side of Main Street. So the borders are the Merritt Parkway, Madison Avenue, and Main Street, and the town line in Bridgeport, running up to the Merritt Parkway. So the study goals, I'll read through these quickly, is to create economic, fiscal, and community value and build consensus around a shared vision for the mall area, understand community desires and concerns for the mall area, educate the community on the area's range of opportunities and constraints, and provide clear implementation steps for property owners and tenants, attract investment interest, and of course define a regulating plan, as it's really the teeth that the Planning and Zoning Commission has going forward as development interest ensues. Okay, so the Trumbull Mall Market Feasibility and Land Use Study demonstrates that the town in Trumbull embraces a new vision for the site. It's pursuing positive investment into the site. It welcomes investment interest. It's providing a high level of predictability to those development interests and folks who might be interested in bringing new and exciting opportunities to the Trumbull Mall site. It increases the value of the property. It values the community time that was dedicated to the public meetings, the folks who attended our meetings, and also the staff time throughout the town of Trumbull and people who participated in this process. And then it also demonstrates how the town exhibits its control over future opportunities and development and ideas that are proposed for the Trumbull Mall site. So there was a process, and I will not read through this in its entirety. You can see a number of check marks here, and then some open circles at the end, which basically demonstrate where we are today with approvals, and then moving forward into a phase where you can go to market and demonstrate the success that you have with the Trumbull Mall study. So there have been stakeholder interviews to community visiting sessions, development scenarios were prepared, fiscal analysis was conducted, and an implementation strategy was prepared. So this process has been very thorough over the course of the project. And then what we're going to focus on tonight are 5 basic items that are extracted from the plan, and I'm going to look at these at a very high level. One is the community feedback that we initiated and conducted during the course of the plan, the market feasibility, the study area potential and future vision, and then implementation and economic impact. But we're going to cover these again at a very high level. So looking at community engagement first. During the course of the project, we had hundreds of people who attended the various sessions. There were 4 public meetings alone that were conducted in addition to a broker session held at the Trumbull Mall. Just gain feedback, get direction, gain the spirit of the community and what they were seeing as potential opportunities at the mall site. There were stakeholder interviews with multiple stakeholders, from local developers to local government leaders to the mall tenants to other investors and property owners. And the website was fairly active, with people having access to the information to get informed about the plan so they can come to our public meetings well informed about what was happening. So through the community engagement process, we've gained community input, and it was fairly consistent. And there were lots of head nodding if you were at those sessions. And what we've assembled here in this circle is essentially what the community is looking for, the types of uses and activities they would like to see at the Trumbull Mall site. The next illustration in the market feasibility and study area potential exhibits what the market will support. So these are the uses that came forward to us through an assessment of the region, the state, and where the potential is for new activities and new market-driven opportunities for the mall site. So then we combine those and we look for the commonalities. On the left, you have the market, what the market will support, and on the right, what the community is looking for, and in that center zone, in that gray zone, are the commonalities. What we left off on the left and the right are those items that were, say, less viable from a market feasibility standpoint, and items that, say, residents of the town would not prefer to see. So a vision for the future. This concept plan essentially assembles all of those common uses. And in the bottom right-hand corner, you see the square foot the areas, land areas, building square footage that is comprised in these various zones around the mall site. And if you look carefully, you get to study this illustration, you'll see that the core of the mall remains, that all of these new activities are happening around the existing buildings that occur, the existing massive building that is prominent on the site today. And here's an exhibit that, through that vision, demonstrates the scale and the aesthetic that we're looking to accomplish. So what you see in the previous exhibit is a fairly densely planned project that shows public realm, it shows open space, roadway networks, parking, new uses and existing uses. And when you look at this, you think, well, what's the scale, what's the look, what's the aesthetic? And this rendering is meant to demonstrate that. Then we talk about implementation and economic impact. The town regulates and oversees planning and zoning. Obviously, your responsibility. And then the future development plans will be required to address key conditions under the purview of planning and zoning. And these items specifically, but not limited to, access and development of the site, open space, land use, stormwater management. So what I'm going to focus on here just for a second is access and development. What you're seeing here is a grayscale version of that previous image. And what you're seeing, and what's important to note, is the number of potential private development lots or development lots that can occur on the property. And if you notice, the areas of acreage for each one. So it's an assembly of various development scenarios and uses that can be integrated within the mall site to make it more attractive and more economically viable for the town of Trumbull and for the property owners. But notice the size of some of the areas. They range from 2.3 acres to 3.8 acres to 4.3 acres. And these could all vary. This is not prescriptive. It's a master plan that lays out a vision for the future. So then we look at an exhibit, and it's similar to what I showed you previously. But in the bottom right-hand corner, we're showing you a scenario of how these different developments could lay out in a series of areas. I think here we're showing up to 6 different areas. It shows the square footage, it shows the parking requirements, it's showing how the site and how that vision plan can be assembled over time. Doesn't need to be one swipe, one bite at the apple. It can happen over incrementally with various development scenarios. Now what we're seeing here is a table of a whole bunch of numbers that show the value of the property, that what could be gained on the Trumbull Mall site over a period of time. In the red box, you're seeing a cost to create infrastructure, new infrastructure. That cost can be borne by a variety of sources: grants, the state, the private communities, partnerships, many ways to build that infrastructure. But the other numbers that you're seeing under value and under the public sector are what the town can gain over in the coming years as the plan is implemented. There's an overall value increase for the property, and then there's tax revenue, and there are fees to be paid through development, which will bring great value to the property. And we say up in the top right-hand corner of this illustration is significant increase in value and revenue to the town, with infrastructure costs borne by partnerships, grants, and other sources. But it's the value that you're gaining through the implementation of this plan that's vitally important. So before we turn it over to Jim Cordone, We're looking at two districts within the study. We're looking at the MDD, the Mixed Use Design District, which is shown here in that pink shade. And to the right is the Professional Office Overlay Zone, the POZ. And the recommendations that came out of the plan assisted the town in crafting the amendments, the text amendments that are being proposed this evening. That concludes the presentation.
That's
Chairman,
really
back to
good.
you. Thank you.
Really good. And Rena, I'll let you go. You may say what I'm gonna say, but let you go
I'm
first.
just gonna say this one thing. This is not just a chop-up real estate deal, the potential is all here. This is the transformation from a giant parking lot with buildings on it to an actual district, a mixed-use district that is much more like a neighborhood. And unlocking this real estate is key to really the returns that Mr. Sorge mentioned and that we'll be discussing tonight. That's all I have.
Okay, so one of the things I want to remind commissioners, if they have any questions before we're going forward, is that what we saw on that drawing are all hypotheticals. The zoning language that's proposed would allow for those types of things. So the discussion of how come not more of this or less of that, or why is this here and not there, none of that is reality. The only reality is to design the guidelines and approve the guidelines that would allow the investment to create a development as you see there that would allow all those types of things. Everything can be shuffled a little bit. So I'm gonna go around the room and see if anybody has any questions right now for what we've heard so far. Rich, you got anything?
I'll get into more of it in depth, but I'm looking at, which Rich? Me?
You.
Yeah. Table, it's page 24, and it shows prohibited uses. And I'm a joker, and I'm a troll, and even I couldn't have invented this. You can't have, within 550 feet of Target, certain businesses which a reasonable person would think that 40% of the gross revenues are from alcohol, and things like that. We have to navigate what it even means, and why does Target have a different restrictions than, say, LA Fitness? Can't have funeral homes within 250 feet. It's like somebody made these, it looks like a joke, honestly. I'd love to know why there's a 550-foot buffer around Target. Why is there a 400-foot buffer around Target? These make serious considerations to what we're ever able to put here. And they're like as if someone threw darts at a map and said, well, LA Fitness has a 250-foot buffer. Why? We never approved it. I don't remember.
No, it has nothing to do with planning and zoning.
Oh, okay.
So can I speak to that? Because that's I'm glad you raised that, because that level of confusion is really important to clear up. So thank you for raising that. What that is, part of what we had to do in this study was take a deep dive and look at all the covenants within leases on that property so that we can understand what those covenants say and how they impact development on the property. Every national tenant has all kinds of things in their leases, prohibitions, et cetera. We deal with this on any major tenant. For example, you've heard about Home Depot up here. They have so many covenants in their leases, it's hard to get that other property occupied, right? This is no different. But what we're doing, what's happening on a parallel track to all of this, I've been meeting with the heads of real estate for all of the major big boxes. They are aware of everything in this study. They will be working side by side with us because they want to see a transformation like this happen.
Can we back up a second?
Let me just finish this one sentence, and then yes. They want to see this happen, but they also have to protect their interests. So we needed to know what those things were that we have to deal with going forward. It is not a matter of planning and zoning. Those are lease issues, covenants within leases. Go ahead, thank you.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
Thank you, Rita. Thank you.
Good? All right. Mr. Cousins? Mr. Kroll?
The only thing I found when I went through it was a recommendation for age-restricting housing, which I think we should reconsider doing at the mall area to make it open to all ages. Maybe restrict, the size of units or something like that.
That would be something that we can absolutely consider down the road, and that's a good discussion item that we can bring up later. And as we've all discussed in all the developments that have come before us, we're still in the adolescent stage of high-density housing in Trumbull, if you will, and we're feeling and measuring the impacts. There haven't been tremendous impacts, and all the studies have worked, and all the studies have met what they've projected, and we want to continue on that path before we open up and say something else, because I think, the public doesn't realize, but Planning and Zoning Office does. There are other applications sitting in there waiting to work their way to us as we speak now. So it's a good discussion item for the future, I agree.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Hall?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I actually had the pleasure of being in some of these studies in the infantry, I think maybe 2, and it was definitely a lot of community feedback. And I think I would like to say that your goals, your strategy, your vision have been consistent since throughout the whole entire process. So I wanted to make that announcement.
Mr. Silver?
Yeah, just to clarify that this is about us accepting this plan and it's not the regulations, 2 different things.
We're talking about the plan.
Yeah.
And the regulation is now gonna, once we're done discussing the plan, because we did it together, we've opened the application for the
Yeah, I
tax.
understand.
Jim's gonna present that,
Yeah.
yes. So we're gonna talk about that
Right.
second.
So, okay, got it. Yeah, no, the only comment I have is this is vitally needed. This is like urgently needed for that site. And so I would, there's mixed use all over the country. Some of it's really, really good and appealing, and we have a chance to revive this real estate, 80 acres, and we should take it, and this is a good plan.
Great. Okay. So at this time, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have Attorney Cordone is gonna present the actual language that we've also opened up now at the same time. He'll read it, he'll go through it, and then what we do, because this is an application, then we will also see if there's any comments from the public, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, there are several memos before you. The one that's labeled number 1 tonight is the one I'm reading from. And the first page is a summary of the revisions to the MDD zone, which is the zone that is where the mall proper exists. There's a second text amendment, which we will deal in a separate public hearing because it is informed by the study but does not reference the study. So this is for the mall proper. As you know, we thank Mr. Sorge and his team for the outstanding efforts. They assisted in helping draft the language that is before you tonight. And I will just summarize the revisions. The first revision is that we move certain uses that were special permitted uses to permitted uses, which allows them to be approved as a matter of right. Secondly, we added senior housing for those 55 years and older with a 10% affordability requirement. This was accomplished by revising the existing language that we already had in the regulation for the multifamily housing that exists at the mall currently. So we took that language and revised it to make it applicable to 55 years and older, and that is what is before you in the language tonight. There's also a modification for parking requirements to allow it to be more flexible with respect to parallel parking on internal drives. We added flexibility with landscaping to give the commission some discretion in the landscaping requirements to allow some of the conceptual plans that Mr. Sorge presented to possibly come to fruition. We changed the size of separate parcels in the zone from 7 to 2 acres to allow greater flexibility, again, to allow the possible conceptual plans to come to fruition. However, with the creation of a separate parcel, it still must be approved by the commission, and it must be in keeping with the concepts of the mall study. So you retain some control over the property, which is very important, I think, to the residents of the town and to the goals of this commission. And lastly, which is somewhat repetitive, is that you are accepting tonight also, if you so choose, the mall study to serve as the master plan for this zone. So that sort of is a guiding framework within which you can work, and it also gives guidance to those developers as to what they possibly could and could not do. So that is pretty much a summary of what we have today.
Quick question, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Can you summarize the as of right changes? I mean, I'm looking for them and I'm not sure I'm finding
Yeah,
them.
certainly, Commissioner Silber, and I know I went with brevity here to get the summary, so if you have a specific question, I'm happy to answer it. We moved five uses from special permit to permitted. So movie and live theater, indoor recreation and amusement, art galleries and museums, a daycare center for adults.
Jim, I'm sorry to interrupt. I got you. I just needed to understand that the as of right is under this 3.4.3.
Yes, sir. I could have answered it that way. That would have been faster.
I just got notification that the audio is not working correctly for externally. They said it's too low. Too low.
The public.
Public can't hear.
The public is having trouble hearing the volume live.
Through the chair.
We have problems with the audio.
Yeah, that's why if everybody's, when you're not talking, everybody should shut their mics off. That helps because you can see there's instant feedback. So we'll go back to the old raise your hands and then we'll turn it on, see if that helps a little bit. All right, hold on 1 second. Mr. Silber, are you all set?
Actually, thank you for coming back to me. I just want to understand why we have parcel sizes the way we have them. Is there any logic to it, or?
Yes, Commissioner Silber. So initially when we adopted this mall change, the regulation change several years ago, we kept the size at 7 acres to sort of be, I think, somewhat cautious in what could or could not take place there. The reduction to 2 acres allows the concept plans that Mr. Sorge presented to possibly come to fruition, which is that sort of what Ms. Bacalar referred to, that sort of neighborhood area that could be created. So it creates greater flexibility. We're not making them quarter acres. And again, each time a separate parcel is to be created, you retain control. It has to come before you. So I think it's a good marriage of flexibility for this commission and also for developers and protection for this commission as well.
I think, Tony, like, I love to put things simply. When that picture graphic came up, every one of those different colors or different buildings in the future would be a different owner. Today, it was the mall. And then the only person who came in was the development there to put the apartments. So that's why the 7-acre breakage came out. And we didn't want to go lower because nobody knew what was going to come. After the study, with the availability of what's in other developments and what we'd like to draw here, that was the numerical value of independent operations being able to function and
Understood.
invest.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, you know, you can take your pick. You want 2 acres, you can do that. If you want 12 acres, you can
Yes,
do that.
right.
Thank you.
But you don't have to do 12, that's the thing. Right.
Mr. Chairman, can I just add that that's consistent with the BC zone as well, right? Thank you.
Okay, so we've already jumped into the questions. I didn't even announce it, but we are now in the Q&A for the application part with commissioners. So I've heard a couple over here. We're on this side now. Go, feel free.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a few questions about some provisions in number 1. When's the right time you'd like to discuss those? Okay. well, that's on the 4th page, 3.4.4 A. It's the reference to the minimum age. So we know age-restricted housing is limited to 55 and over. There is a proviso here that says you're allowed to live there provided the surviving spouse of a person who is 50 or older may remain in occupancy of a dwelling. I'd like to strike that. The widow's age should be irrelevant. We shouldn't be kicking widows out because they're not 50. It's such an unlikely thing that's ever going to happen, but it just seems cruel to even have a minimum age.
So you would recommend an amendment that the surviving spouse may
Period.
remain, so just strike the language.
Strike the minimum 50. The 3.4.6, so this would be the 6th page. It says the minimum size, the maximum height of any building or structure shall be 65 feet. Is that consistent with the other regulations that we already have?
There is no change to that,
Okay.
correct?
And 2 pages on, it would be 3.4.7, the provisions for vehicles with the subsequent page. What actually says 3.4.8 signs. I'm looking at the top paragraph on that page. It says, to offset impact of surface parking, there's at least one tree or financial equivalent. I didn't know there's such a thing as a financial equivalent. I guess they're making some type of payment in lieu of planting trees. That seems somewhat odd.
Excuse me, thank you. There's a thought that that could offset, that could be used elsewhere on the site as part of the green space that you see, the public realm work that we want to see happen to help tie this together as a neighborhood. So in lieu of a tree planting, the value of that would go toward other public realm improvement on the site.
That seems reasonable, then. Thank you. Just the first time I've ever seen that concept. On the subsequent page, signs, D, it says that illumination, the last sentence in D, in the event of 24-hour sign operation, illumination for all signs shall be extinguished between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. That's good. It says, with the exception of the one sign located at the entrance, which may remain illuminated. I think that probably means the 2 signs, as there are 2 entrances to the mall.
Commissioner Deegan, that language remains unaltered. That's currently what's
Oh.
in the existing text.
Okay. And,
You know, in Rich Deacon terms of practical matters, we have no idea what type of businesses could possibly want to go there. And if they're open 24 hours, we're putting on someone here that says you have to turn your lights off. We may want to address that in the future.
Right.
They're going to want to say they're open. Okay, it's we drove by, it was dark. Oh, they're not allowed to have lights. That's
Okay.
I think that's something we'll work about in the future, depending on what business it is.
got it. Okay, and in terms of what Mr. Silver brought up about the 7 to 2 acres, assuming 2 acres is reasonable and consistent with what we've done elsewhere, I don't know how many we're planning on, how many units of housing we'd be able to put on those acres I believe it said 10 per acre. I don't know if that changes if we go bigger, but
Yeah, I think the 2 per acre was more geared towards independent businesses more than housing development.
okay, that's fine then. And that's all. Thank you.
Great. Rich?
Okay. I want to return to 3.4.4A. Yeah. I'm concerned about the idea of age-restricted housing in general as a policy. I know Rich mentioned the idea of striking the provision on the surviving spouse for the widow. I would like to strike the entire provision. To open this up to all ages. People under 55 are interested in housing too. If we really want a vibrant, future-oriented community, we should be targeting this housing, or at least opening it up to the next generation. I'm certainly not going to vote for a discriminatory housing policy, so if somebody else would like to vote to strike this, I would certainly second it.
So, Mr. Cousins, if I may, I think that's a valid policy discussion. But what's before you tonight would expand the usage, and I think we would have to renotice that sort of change. But what I would say to you is that this plan does not preclude that in the future, as the chairman has stated earlier to Mr. Kroll's comments. It does reference mixed use, and so while there's not a specific provision for it, it would allow someone to come in and do that. We do have the existing apartments that are not age restricted on the mall currently, so I think the consultant
Right.
meant to balance
So
that.
it's not to replace the previous zone, it's to add it with
This is
it.
an addition
Right.
to it, yes, sir.
Right. I see.
Right, and as Jim pointed out, that this is the beginning. And as I said before, it's not that this isn't real, it's a real plan. And only a plan that we're going to sell as the town and economic development to people for possible investment. So if your desire is to open it up, then that's a discussion with the office, and they will begin the studies on the actual impacts for below 55, and then see what those impacts are, because it's a possibility in the future. And and as Attorney Gordon said, if somebody shows up before we've done that, they have the ability to come and ask for that change as well. So your comment understood, right? And supported.
Mr. Chairman, if I can just suggest, some of the feedback was pretty overwhelming at the community meetings, that they wanted to see housing for seniors on site and some affordability. That came out in every single meeting pretty loud and clear. And there was also some concerns from the public about just regular multifamily housing, because they wanted to see just what Mr. Chairman said, the impact of the housing that's already been put up. So, and then just lastly, under the Housing for Older Persons Act, it's called HOPA. You can see it under you can Google it and it'll come up. It's not discriminatory under federal law to age restrict housing. I just want to make sure for the record that we note that. Thank you.
Yeah, I did not mean so in legal terms, but more broadly, it's still discriminatory to say, you're 30 years old, you can't live here. I'm interested, Raina, though, what's the demographic of the survey, particularly the age distribution of its participants?
This was in public meetings, so there was a wide array of people in the public meetings. There were a number of seniors, and in fact, they continue to call asking if this is going to happen, asking for senior housing options there. And then, in addition to that, there were a number of people from the community in those meetings that did not want housing that was not age restricted there because we had just built. So it was all, a variety of ages, and they kind of landed in those two places.
One of the quagmires that we have is as people in the room get older, it's, in Fred's simplest terms, old people want to live with old people, right? So when there's a need for senior housing, the seniors want to live and come home and relax. They don't want to hear loud music and kids running around. They want to be able to leave their grandkids and go home. They don't want to, and live in the same place. So when you have development and the seniors come out, they're going to want it senior only. Huh? Define old. You have coffee with your meals. How's that? Is that good? You like that? All right. Mr. Kroll, I think it's your turn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So when I look at the plan, it looks like if it was ultimately fully built out, it would be pretty high density, right? Is the concept for this to be sort of a downtown area almost? I mean, I don't see a lot of green space. I see a lot of roads between buildings.
So, right now it's pavement, right? So in buildings, I think there will be more green space, but the concept is, I don't know that we're using downtown as the language, but yes, like a mixed-use, village-style neighborhood destination where you have your entertainment, your restaurants, your retail, office, other uses. You see there, hotel potentially, and other things all there. So it would be destination-type downtown model.
And other than what's existing here already, the rest of this is conceptual, right? So any one of these build-outs that doesn't currently exist, that would be coming before the commission?
Everyone would have to come before the commission for a full application.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank
Great.
you.
Okay. So at this time, right? We're gonna go.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just add that
All right.
we did send this revision to the regional planning agency, MetroCog, and it did state that there's no regional impact in this. They were also a part of the study as well too, so they also helped us through this project as well. We did get a few letters in support of the study as well too, from economic development, from the BRBC, from our first selectman, and from Stan Tech as well.
And Mr. Timpanelli
And
as
Mr.
a resident.
Timpanelli, yes.
Okay. All right. So are we ready for the public? Huh? I thought
I have
we
no
went that
questions.
side. I thought we went from left to right. I thought she. I'd be disappointed if you didn't.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a couple of questions. Some of them are possibly from not really being completely conversant, but I'm going to ask them anyway, at the risk of sounding ignorant. This might be for Mr. Sorge. What is the origin of the regulations that appear, the proposed regulations that appear in the study, and therefore are reflected in the redone, the updated MDD? I mean, the reason I ask is because I may have said this to Rena the other day. I'm just curious because there's mixed use, right? That's acceptable in some places, and there's mixed use that we want. And so I don't know if you understand that distinction, but I want like the Cadillac of mixed use design districts.
I will try to answer that with this illustration here, but allow me to go backward. So mixed use it's very consistent with what the town will already allow within a mixed-use district. And what we've done, what's proposed in the amendment, is moving from special permit to as-of-right specific uses. Those specific uses were identified by the community, and they're consistent with what we believe the market will support, not only locally, but regionally, the mall being a regional destination. So this exhibit here, if you can read it from where you are, or it's in your attachment, it's in the full plan, starts to define those uses. And I could read them from the top.
No, you don't have to.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, and I think that what you're describing is fine. I don't want us to have a poorly built, poorly thought through mixed-use development, like, maybe some cities or somewhere put buildings on cliffs and do all that kind of stuff. That's what I wanted to avoid. So I think you answered that.
Right, thank you.
Yep. This is a very simple thing. Maybe Jim can answer it, or Rena, but what in 3.4.3 number 2, what's an example of a manufacturing or treatment in connection with a permitted retail or service use? What would that even be?
I'm sorry, could you repeat this section again?
3.4.3 number 2. We're allowing some kind of manufacturing. I'm just curious about what it would be.
Mr. Silber, that language is already in the existing lang text.
And what would it be?
We're
I
not.
can answer that.
Okay, just want to make.
So there's something called boutique manufacturing. So so this is not industrial manufacturing. So for example, we have a coffee roaster, a bean roaster. It's a food manufacturing business in Trumbull that has a retail component to the front. There's a desire. I remember when we did the MDD, I was one of the people who wanted to see that in there, because there are such businesses where they're doing the development of the product, and then the front end
Okay.
is the retail end. So
That's fine.
it's like a boutique manufacturing kind
All
of
right.
concept.
Understood, thank you. Just a couple of others. 3.4.4, I see we struck the maximum of 260 units, and I'm wondering what the thinking is there, because maybe we get a lot more, or just curious. I mean,
So the language that's there now is related to units per acre in a parcel that is designated by the study or by the Planning and Zoning Commission. So we sort of control the density by the acre of the size of the lot that we permit there to be senior housing in. So that was the idea, as opposed to a firm cap. The study also references within the body of the study 200 units for the zone. So I think that's sort of a guiding.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Cordone.
No problem.
In section 3.4.5, on the bottom, the last paragraph there, I just thought that was like the core of what we're trying to communicate, and I'm not sure if it's communicated probably is, but, but that is so important. Any new structure should be compatible with the vision and goals of the Trumbull Mall area feasibility, market feasibility, and land use study. That's just a pretty fundamental concept that we should make sure that people know right from the start.
Yes,
Without-
I think it's the marriage of giving someone some set goals and flexibility, and I think that's the idea.
Yeah, I was just saying, maybe move it up to the top, but it is what it is.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Mr. Silbert, do you think that could ever be used against us? And a developer says, well, you claim that, look, we're compatible, and it's going to cause us trouble to prove we're not compatible. I don't want to hamstring us with suggestive,
We get to just say it's not.
okay.
Unless it's specifically called out, we get to say it's not. That's what we're here to do.
Okay, because it has the word should, which doesn't hold much legal ground.
All right.
I think it means should in whose eyes. It's discretionary, it sounds to me.
Right. We're good. Mr. Silver, any more questions? Because I know Mr. Deacon might have another one, and we have to go to the public.
Okay. Yeah, just thank you for bearing with me. There's all kinds of language in this study and in the study referring to open space and parks and that kind of a thing, and yet we have maximum impervious coverage of 85%, which to me leaves virtually no space for plazas, which are mentioned in the study, parks, which are mentioned in the study. So I'm just wondering if that really requires another look. Maybe it's, instead of 85%, maybe it's 75% or 80%. I just think I could, if we're really wanting to build a community, we need space for people to go, recreate, whatever.
Right. Ms. Backler wants to answer that question. I think, Mr. Silver, I will tell you that we worked with the Stantec consultants, which had a national perspective, and their level of expertise in assessing these things, I think we really benefited from that. This was not language that we put together. We received it and worked with it with them. And so the 85%, it may limit the ability for flexibility on the site. Go ahead, Ms. Beck.
Thank you. I would agree with you, Jim. And I think that we are definitely intentionally going to be looking for park-like locations. And there's one identified that could move, it could change, but there's one identified with a concept in the study that's fairly sizable and connects the outdoor and indoor pretty nicely. And that's a lot of the concept, that this is an indoor-outdoor area, live, work, play area. So inside is as recreational as outside in a way. So I think that there's intention. There's also some discussion in the study about revealing the brook. Is it Horse Brook?
Horse Tavern Brook.
Horse Tavern Brook could potentially be opened up, and that be a real asset. So that's a neat concept as well.
That was on my list of questions. I mean, I think part of it goes under pennies, but where it can be opened up,
Yeah,
ought to
just
be.
partially.
Yeah.
It could be a
So-
real asset to the site.
Oh,
Very
yeah, I
interesting.
totally
yeah.
agree. Yeah. Sorry, that scratches off one other question. Thank you, Rena.
Okay.
And the final question is this: and Jim, maybe you can best answer this, Attorney Cordon. Are the regulations consistent with the plan? Because somebody just said that it depends on the definition of this, or it depends on who's saying it. What we need to be sure of is what we're saying in this regulation is exactly what we want, because you know how it works in planning and zoning. Somebody comes in with something that we might not feel good about, but it's in our regulations, so we have to accept it and approve it.
So I want to pull that back for a second.
Go ahead.
That's the rabbit hole I don't want to go down. This is a template for a sales. No, I understand what you're saying. This is going to be here, right? It is not in stone.
All right.
It is not real.
I know it's not real,
Well,
but
let me finish. Let me finish.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I let you go. Let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
It is a sales tool for economic development to go and create the new mall space into a village district. All those little nuances you're talking about we're never going to drive down. We could have 1,000 comments like you're doing right now into a little of this, a little of that. We can't talk there because it's not real. When we get to that, how much of this, where does this exactly go? That's what the future is. And we might have to modify some of this, to your point. It might not be exactly perfect, but it is taking good, starting to make it great, right? And we may have to modify it down the road. But I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of the detailed nuances inside it yet.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I accept what you're saying, but this is a regulation. This is not a concept. It's a regulation. If somebody comes in and adheres to this, we have to allow it. And so, and you're a big proponent of that.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
no, I'm just saying that is something to think about. But like I said, that it's a regulation. It's not like a master plan.
Right, but there's also the development. Right now, it's one piece. We have the upper hand still because it hasn't been split yet. So somebody comes in, they can't necessarily get the split. They're not entitled to a split. They may be entitled to a development for something. But if it doesn't exactly match, that's one of the things that we have going forward a little bit, right?
Can I just add to that? I agree with Mr. Chairman, but the folks that worked on our team that are regulation experts looked at what we were envisioning in the plan and the concepts in the plan, and they looked at our existing zoning, and they lined up, and they went through and made the recommendations of what was needed in order, that what was missing, let me say it that way, and what was going to be needed in order to make what the concepts in this plan set the foundation for those things to happen.
Yeah, that's really what I wanted to know. I mean, somebody went through them and compared the plan to the regulations, and they sync up. All right, thank you.
All right, this time I'm going to go to the public. Is there anybody here from the public who would like to speak for or against this application?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Members of the commission, my name is Paul Timpanelli. I reside at 5628 Main Street. I've been a resident there for about 50 years and a resident of the town of Trumbull since 1954. As some of you may know, I also currently serve as an elected member of the Board of Finance. I'm in my second term. And prior to that engagement, I served as a member of the Board of Education. I served as town clerk for 6 years, first selectman for 6 years. I've been on 2 charter revision commissions, a member of the Conservation Commission, and a member of the Wetlands Commission at one point or another. I tell you this not in a manner to impress any of you or to impress anyone else, but in an attempt to provide you with an understanding of my perspective on the question of what is before you tonight as to the recommendation to change the town's regulations in a very, very dramatic and very, very decisive way. And it can be demonstrated that it's dramatic and decisive by the nature of your very important questions tonight. The financial community, the retail community, the housing community, our own residential community, all need to be impressed by this study. I think this gives you a very, very good opportunity to impress those communities and to make major needed change in our community to preserve what is one of its most historically important assets. I believe that over my 50 years of engagement in the governing of our community, I've been provided somewhat of a unique perspective on what enables the success of a community like ours. I believe it has been our unique ability to properly balance the issues of community development, economic development, character preservation, tax-based growth, financial stability, and tax rate reasonability. That being said, however, I see some very, very difficult challenges ahead of us. I'm sure you're all aware of them. Our town is almost devoid of developable land. We've done a very good job at building our tax base without unreasonable intrusion. We've become one of the most desirable communities in the state and to some degree in the country. And our tax rate, although burdensome as it is in every Connecticut community, because of our reliance on a real estate tax to generate revenue, our tax rate is stable and it's not horribly unreasonable. But in the years ahead, particularly if Connecticut's arcane and unfair system of real estate taxation does not change, we could be in a situation where minimal tax-based growth forces tax rate growth if we want to continue to provide the quality services that we have historically provided. That is why we need to get way out ahead of what is happening to malls around the country. Our mall, as you all know, better than I, is not unique. These previously very strong taxpayers and employers, malls, are dramatically changing, and our town must be as aggressive as we can to not only preserve the tax base that generates from this mall, but to actually give us an opportunity to increase that tax base based upon the plan that Stantec has provided us, and to aggressively pursue more tax revenue as a result of it. The redevelopment of the Trumbull Mall property in a thoughtful, market-driven, publicly responsive way is, in my opinion, a very critical factor in the guaranteed continued success of the community that we all reside in. I urge you to treat this matter with the attention that it deserves. I can tell by your questioning tonight, you will treat this matter with the attention that it deserves, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anybody else here who'd like to speak for or against?
Hi, everyone. My name is Greg Dunn, resident of 25 Bonneview Drive. Speaking of 25, I've been there for about 25 years. It's about a block from the mall. It's just outside of the study area. So I have 4 quick points. I got an index card. Number one is, as a resident taxpayer, I'm for this. Just for the record, I'm for the proposal. I would be for it for the reason of, like we said, it really needs improvement. That's my second reason is, I was 17 years as a mall cop there on the weekends for Trumbull Mall. So I have seen some deterioration firsthand. And that's why we really need this master plan. We need a vision. And I'm, for that reason, very much in favor of it. The third point is I'm a former city planner, redeveloper, economic development, 40 years in that business. And so I think this is good planning. And I think it's good. The mixed use is the way to go. Transit-oriented development, we didn't really mention that tonight, but that's in the piece here. Aesthetics and so on. So I would definitely recommend that. I've read through the plan and it looks good, at least at the high level, conceptual, of course. And then as you can kind of see, I'm a boomer who's almost an empty nester. And so I live, like I said, a block from the mall. I, for the record, enjoy the apartments. I'm okay with them. I can't afford them, but I like them, the ones that are on Main Street. And that's why I would put a plug in here for the senior housing of some sort. If some's affordable, that's good. And let me also put a plug in as a boomer, who also, us boomers are getting older, and with age comes illness, unfortunately. Thankfully, I'm in good health. But I like the idea, I did see in here, there's opportunity for medical related, and I think that's important. Unfortunately, that's a growing need, and I could see that as a piece of this too. So I don't think that was really mentioned. So 4 points, and again, thank you for your comments and good questions too. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for or against? Come on up if you want to.
My name is Nate Gross for Canterbury Lane. I support the proposals for the mall. The mall's value to our town is immense, and we need to find ways to protect it to ensure our town's sustainability and lower taxes for residents. And I also think that our town doesn't really have a whole lot of areas of interest as it is. So I think these changes to the mall will help encourage the increase of businesses that will offer greater activities and services to our town that will help make our town more enjoyable to live in. A lot of towns in Connecticut have things that Trumbull doesn't, and I think that this proposal will help to bring some of those things to Trumbull. I also support the senior housing that's planned at the mall. However, I do think that it's important that in addition to senior housing, we try to have some non-age restricted housing at the mall. So that way, younger people like myself have somewhere more affordable and reasonable to live in, because our town doesn't really have a whole lot of housing for young people like myself. And that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, you want to put a bow on it, or are you all set? You're all set? Okay. So at this time, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing. So moved. Deacon, is there a second? Mr. Silver, all in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're gonna take these separately. I'll take a motion first to accept the mall study and then we'll do the application. Mall study, Mr. Silver, second, and Mr. Deacon. Any questions? No discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Aye, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're good. At this time, I will take a motion to approve application 2515. Mr. Silver, is there a second? Ms. Hall?
No,
Any
we'll add it.
discussion?
You want me to add the, okay. Through the chair, motion to amend that motion to add the following conditions. 3.4.4, sorry, I'll go slow. 3.4.4A, we're going to strike the reference to 50 years or older. It will simply say the surviving spouse of a person may remain in occupancy of a dwelling. We'll strike the word who is 50 years of age or older.
Yeah, I didn't know that there were others, so let's start with that one. Is there a second for that motion? Mr. Silver, is there any discussion on that?
No, there are none others, that's all.
Huh? Yeah, I didn't think there were others. You said let's start with. You're getting me nervous. All right, so all those in favor of adding this amendment to the original motion that has now been seconded, say aye. Aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the original motion has now been amended to remove the age restriction for spouses that are widowed. Okay. Anything else? None. All right. So, all those in favor of the original motion as amended, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. And it's a text amendment complies with the comprehensive plan and the POCD and have an effective date of August 29, 2025. Right? Now, we will do text amendment 2512. And that's you. So applicant Town of Trumbull, Planning and Zoning Department, requesting to modify P&Z regs by revising Article 2, Section 2.1 of the Professional Overlay Zone Regulation, copy of the file, copies on file, P&Z office with the town clerk, file 2512.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the number 2 memo for the commissioners, just so you're aware of which one we're looking at right now. This also comes out of the recommendations from the mall study from Stantec. However, for legal reasons, we're hearing this application separately and voting separately. This area focuses on the area of the existing POOZ zone that is from Main Street south of the Merritt to the Bridgeport line. It is intended to encourage additional economic, to foster additional economic activity and economic vitality in this gateway area to the town of Trumbull. What it does in summary is it defines that area with the name POOZ South to have a focus on it. And in that specific area, it permits greater flexibility by allowing the consolidation of lots. It also allows the lots to have a building coverage of up to 50%, and an additional use of a daycare center facility was also added. So I hope it's pretty straightforward in light of our previous discussions. Be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Okay. So what we're gonna do, we lost Rich, so we're gonna take a 5-minute break. We're going off the record. I don't wanna just wait and rehash it when he walks back in, so we're on break for 5 minutes, all right? on, and we're good. Okay. All right, shh, we're back live. We're back live. All right, so while we were on that quick break, Commissioner Deacon is all caught up with the explanation of what the adjustments are for the text amendment. And right now we are at the portion of, are there any questions on the text amendment from the commissioners for the town attorney? Questions? We're going right to the public. All right, no questions? Rob, do you have anything to add?
No.
Good. He's getting it. All right. Is there anybody from the public here who would like to speak for or against this amendment? In simple layman terms that the attorney just described, it's the area across the street from the mall, and it's just going to allow the lots to be combined easier and put more buildings on there if it ever comes in the future. So, name and address for the record.
Okay. Greg Dunn. I'll get over here. Greg Dunn, 25 Bonneview Drive, right in that area. My only thought and comment, I kind of approve of the POOs. Is that the? Yeah, approve the POs. So, and my comment would be that the office that's on the corner of Oshner and Main, it's like a, medical-ish kind of building. That would be a good example, I think, personally. I think that's kind of a good example. I think that's what the intent here is, to kind of have.
It's exactly that, and
That's-
I don't want to dive down that rabbit hole, but that took a lot of extra, and it's kind of saying, let the rest do that as well, because it will attract. Because what it's been for the past 20 years of my existence here has not attracted any development or any ability to combine lots. So,
Thank you. That was my.
all right. Anybody else for or against? Nope. All right, people are here for other subjects, so let's keep moving this along. All right, I will take a motion to close the hearing then if we're all set. Mr. Deacon's nodding his head. Mr. Silber raised an elbow, so that's 2. All right. Any further discussion on the text amendment change? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All set. Good. Close the hearing? Long day. All right, motion to accept. So moved. Close. Second. Ms. Hall, there you go. Any further discussions on the text amendment itself? And it's in line with the comprehensive plan, BOCD, effective date August 29, 2025. Any further questions? Okay, hearing none. On favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That one was the amendment. All right, we're all set. Now we are on. Okay, the next text amendment, the applicant is the town of Trumbull again. The Planning and Zoning Department requests to modify Trumbull zoning regulations by revising Article 8, uses prohibited in all zones, to extend the prohibition of cannabis establishments for another year. The copy of the regulation is on file with Trumbull P&Z office and the Trumbull Town Clerk. I'm going right to the public on this. Is there anybody from the public here who'd like to speak for or against this amendment? Come on up.
Thank you, Council.
Hit the button.
Thank you, Council. Ben Herbst, 151 Cascade Road.
Trumbull?
It's not in Trumbull, in Stamford, Connecticut. Sorry about that. My name is Benjamin Herbst, and I'm the Chief Business Development Officer at Sweet Spot. I was born and raised in Fairfield County in Stamford and have 8 years of experience in the cannabis industry. Sweet Spot is a veteran-owned and operated, and currently operates in 5 states. We are also among the first operators in the industry to formalize university partnerships with URI, Rowan University, and Eastern Connecticut State University, where we serve on the Sustainability Board. I heard Chair Garrity's point about the lack of qualified operators engaging with Trumbull. For the past 4 months, we've been reaching out to express our interests, and we're here tonight to confirm we want to locate in Trumbull, and we have the licensing and track record to do so responsibly. Public safety and youth protections are non-negotiables for us. Our stores are 21 and older, IDs are checked at the door and again at the register. Individuals under 21 cannot enter. We only stock the highest quality products that come from regulated, lab-tested sources. Facilities like ours that operate within the legal framework established by the regulators help displace the illicit market and keep consumers safe. There's consistent research that says that as legal markets grow, the illicit markets shrink, and therefore less minors have access to the use. Additionally, our safety and security team is comprised of veterans who have combined 30 years of experience securing federal facilities and protecting assets across the globe. Across our network, we've completed over 400,000 transactions last year. Our company is not focused on creating or selling products with the highest THC content. We're focused on creating a worry-free experience where customers can find mild products, providing them with control over their experience. Surprisingly, our typical consumer is a 40-plus-year-old woman who is looking for relief in pain, sleep better, or relieve anxiety. To share more specifically about our Connecticut track record, we operate 2 retail stores and a cultivation facility with no community impacts in Connecticut. We invest locally. We've partnered with the Hartford Neighborhood Center and run quarterly food drives. We support InTempo, which brings high-quality music and education to underserved youth. Trumbull would have the right to a 3% municipal tax, which can conservatively yield $200,000 a year. Beyond the tax revenue, we align our corporate giving with town priorities. We are prepared to support initiatives for the Veteran First Responder Center building, and we consider matching targets for community funding, including the Trumbull Community Theater. Our ask tonight is simple. Stop the yearly moratorium, approve the use like the state already has, and allow us to present a full operational plan so you can evaluate Sweet Spot on the facts. I appreciate your help listening, and thank you so much.
Sorry about that. So I'm going to give a little exchange with it. We don't normally exchange with comments. Sure. I'm going to give you the same comment that we've given other folks. Turn your button off. That's not your fault. It's the system tonight. We usually can get 2 or 3 on at the same time. So it's likely going to pass tonight, but what we have said is the reason it continues to pass is there has not been an invested interest in somebody wanting to develop. So if you have an invested interest, I'm going to explain to you the same thing we did to others in the past. Go see Rob, talk about a plan, talk about what the feasibility is, because any applicant at any time can come back and ask for a modification to any regulation that exists.
So you're saying if I present a plan, potentially if it goes well, something that you can overturn the moratorium, or is it something that would have to wait until the moratorium?
I'm only going to repeat exactly what I said, which is if you have a desire to invest and do that here, go to the Planning and Zoning Department, talk with Rob, and then they will work with you to say where and how any feasibility is, test the waters, see what's required, and there is always an ability to move forward somehow.
Understood.
All right? But it has to be, the moratorium in place allows for even more controlled development if there ever would be.
Understood. Thank
All
you.
right?
I appreciate it.
Okay. All right, is there anybody else for or against? Wow, it's only me on and it's still feedback.
Gross for Canterbury Lane. Nate Gross for Canterbury Lane. I don't use marijuana myself, but I think that the economic and tax benefits that to any businesses, particularly the tax benefits of marijuana businesses, is something to consider. And I think that our town could benefit financially from ending this moratorium. I think that if our town can bring in more kinds of business, can bring in more kinds of businesses, then we have a good opportunity to increase our tax base and lower the burden on town residents. And the more taxes that we can get out of businesses, the better it will be for our town. On top of bringing more businesses, will increase the services available to our residents. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And it's basically the same answer for the control of it moving forward, because if we just opened it up, we wouldn't have control. Somewhere around 15 plus, close to 20 years ago, there were no apartments. I wasn't the chair back then. The apartments were approved in language, and there were floodgates of people coming in to ask to develop. So in an effort to prevent something like this, and the fact that marijuana, even though it's 2025, and I believe a good number of these commissioners are not against it. It's a lightning rod issue. So the more control we have moving forward to make sure it's a good, successful plan, the better off we are. So that being said, anybody else? Rob, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for the record, we did get a letter from MetroCog saying that there's no regional impact for this moratorium for this text amendment. We also got a letter from the Trumbull Police Department from Chief Lombardo. I believe everybody got a copy of that letter as well too. And we also got a letter from, I believe, TPOD as well too, asking for an extension of this moratorium.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, any questions from commissioners at this point or any comment?
Through the chair. So, I know this speech well because I've given it since 2013. Connecticut Post, 2013. Acting Chairman Richard Deacon. Yeah, they let me do it one day. Acting Chairman Richard Deacon thought the 4-month moratorium was a fair middle ground. This will not put us tremendously out of the running for potential business to move into Trumbull. And I really wanted to get meta here, and I want to cite the August 2024 minutes of this commission, in which I cited the August 2023 minutes, in which I cited the August 22 minutes of me saying the same thing over and over. Let's stop kicking the can.
How's that working out for you?
I don't know. So my goal, which seems to be, believe it or not, me and the police chief agree that we should have an ad hoc committee to study the possible effects of a marijuana dispensary in Trumbull. So I will again make my annual statement. Let's have the conversation. Either we ban it or we allow it, but at some future date within the next year. Siri, remind me in 1 year, do this again. No, but really within the next year, let's finally have the conversation of should we allow it? Should we heavily restrict it? Should we ban it?
So we've come farther down that road, and you're removing some of the comedy. You should really think about leading that ad hoc commission and taking it wherever you want it to go and getting some input, because there is some level of understanding with this commission that it's a feasible thing that would likely come here, and there's not tremendous negative impact where it exists in other towns. We're not seeing that. But it's something that is a lightning rod issue that needs proper development planning to move forward. And like we said to these folks who may be interested, it's a possibility. I think we're all saying the same thing. And unless you're volunteering to lead that ad hoc committee, I look forward to your speech next year.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I'll take a motion to pass this. Motion to approve from Mr. Silver. Is there a second? I think we're going on this side. All right, that's from Ms. Hall. Any further discussion? No? All those in favor? Aye. 1, 2, 3, 4. All those against? Attaboy. There you go. And it is in, Mr. Cousins was against. It is in compliance with our comprehensive plan, the POCD, and effective date is August 29, 2025. Okay, we're going out of order, so which one is next now? Okay, so the next one is on the agenda. It's file 2513, the text amendment. Applicant, Town of Trumbull Planning and Zoning Department is requesting to create Article 2, Section 2.17, special regulations for the professional office overlay zone for properties located in the POZ with frontage along the south side of White Plains Road, Route 127, starting at the corner of Reservoir Drive and ending at the corner of Alice Place, and to be called POZ Central. Copy of the regulation on file in the P&Z office and with the town clerk at 2513. Is this you, Jim, or is it Rob? There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's me also. So this is also in the POOZ zone. There is one POOZ zone in the town, but there are different areas of that. And this regulation has come out of the Trumbull Center land use study, which encourages additional economic activity and vitality in the gateway area into Trumbull Center. It is from the corner of White Plains Road to Reservoir Avenue. And so at the end of the POOZ zone, we add this special section, which deals with 5 lots here that are spelled out in the regulation. This is intended to create sort of a mixed use of residential, retail, and restaurant as a new use in this area. The idea is that it would be similar in concept to the Long Hill Green Zone, where we would have some smaller density housing over the top of retail. The mixed use must meet certain requirements. There must be a 1-acre lot. The residential units are limited to 1-bedroom studio on the 2nd floor. The height is limited to 35 feet. Fast food restaurants and drive-thrus are prohibited. It allows greater flexibility in this area by allowing the consolidation of lots and a mixed-use building of up to 17,000 square feet. So it is targeted and focused, and it also is intended to foster economic development in that specific area prior to Trumbull Center. I don't know if Mr. Lebrandi has anything further to add. He does.
Thank you, Attorney Cordone. Just that this text amendment was sent to our regional planning agency, and they said there's no regional impact. As Attorney Cordone said, this is one of the goals of our Trumbull Center study was to expand the POOZ and extend the regulations in that area. So we are going by our study, and this is one of those steps that we're moving forward. Thank you.
Okay, and conceptually, we've had this discussion in the past that the creation of those zones down there always was an attempt to head towards down the connector and make that a vibrant area as, development interest was there, and I believe it is there now. One personal point, I am a fan of the modern world and drive-thrus. It's become the convenience. There's people that only go to drive-thrus now, and it's a difficult situation, especially down there, because we know how popular one drive-through is down there, right? The drive-through that shall remain nameless, right? But, and again, we can't hold the businesses hostage because they're popular. It just is what it is. So I'm not going to bring up the drive-through, but I do understand what this development is for, and I'm very glad that it's happening and continuing to bring life down there to White Plains Road, which everybody's looking for, especially with the developments that are there. So I'll go around the room for comments first, then we'll go to the public. Go ahead.
Just a quick question. First of all, I should say Reservoir Ave, not Drive. But is there a reason we didn't go down to the connector and we stopped at Alice Place?
It's the interest that's in front. It's the interest that's there now. It's we're not going to make changes where they're unnecessary or there's no interest or no ability to develop in the short term. There is interest to develop in that area, or else we wouldn't be going forward.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Cousins, Mr. Crow, Ms. Hall, Mr. Silver.
Yeah, a couple of things. Some of the language here really did strike me as tailored to something specific. 17,000 square feet, blah blah, and all that stuff. But I'm conceptually I'm for it. I would just ask what the Board of Realtors thinks, and I thought we approved like a medical office, a dentist's office, maybe on the corner of Alice and White Plains Road on that same site. Is that relevant?
Yeah, it was a law office. It's a law office.
It's a law office at that.
Law office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what this is, it takes the whole block into consideration.
Yeah. So
Sunset's where
It's down a block.
Yeah.
oh, okay. All right. Never mind.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, at this time I'll go to the public. Is there anybody here to speak for or against this regulation change? Okay, hearing none. Any more comments from the commissioners? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to close the meeting. Ms. Hall, seconded. Mr. Cousins, all in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's closed. I'll take a motion to approve. Ms. Hall, Mr. Cousins, Mr. Deacon is number 2. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Passes. Thank you very much. And it is in compliance with the Comprehensive Plan and POCD, effective date August 29, 2025. Now, drum roll. We are on Broadway, right? Okay, 35 Broadway Road, applicant Machado or Machado? Machado or Machado? Machado. Machado Properties LLC is requesting to subdivide the property located at 35 Broadway in a Residence A zone into 2 building lots pursuant to the Town of Trumbull subdivision regulations in Article 3 of the zoning regulations, file 25-16. Name and address for the record?
My name is Ronaldo Machado. I'm the property owner of 35 Broadway Road, and we'll let Veronica to do the presentation.
I'm Veronica Dmitreski, and I'm here in name of Ronaldo.
I'm going to pause you because this one's different. This is a real application, so
Okay.
we're going to save you a little bit. Stay there. We're going to save you a little bit of time because we're going to let staff give the hard details, and then you can just fluff it up. All right?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This application, 35 Broadway, originally came in front of the Zoning Board of Appeals. They did receive a variance because due to the size of the lot, they needed excess frontage and I believe a rear yard setback, I think, to that point.
Road frontage.
Frontage, yep. So this is going to be just one lot subdivided into 2. They're requesting, this is a re-subdivision of the property. Other than that, from reviewing the plan, it looks like it complies with all the requirements needed for a lot subdivision. With those variances, the applicant came in front of the Zoning Board of Appeals early August and received approvals. A copy of the approval letter is with the that was sent to the commissioners as well too in the packet. Thank you.
Okay, floor is yours.
So pretty much as Robert just said, we have been through the variance process, which has been approved. So now we are going to be able to have the subdivision process as well. Everything that is regarding to the regulations we are following. So there is no anything wrong with all the setbacks or anything necessary for the approval. And that's the reason why we're here today. And we request the approval of the subdivision of the existing 35 Broadway lot.
Okay, thank you very much. And Rob, I'll ask the simple questions like I always do. This meets all the regulations, right?
With the variance, yes, it does.
Right, and that's one of the things that I just want all the commissioners understand, because there was one letter from the public, which I'll talk about, to say, doesn't meet the regulations. Once an applicant has an approval from Zoning Board of Appeals, it now, by default, meets the regulations, because Zoning Board of Appeals has said you are granted that allowance. So they are in full compliance as far as this commission is concerned with what they need to do to achieve this application approval. So I'm gonna go around the room. I'll go in reverse this time. Ms. Hall?
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to add something else too. I think with Mr. Machado stated with staff too that he's going to be living in one of the houses as well too. Is that correct?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
My wife still thinks.
Okay.
Yeah, for the records, as Rob said, there is one existing house in one lot, and we have proposed a garage, which has been approved as well. So in the new lot, it's going to be a single-family house.
And the existing house was very blighted. There was numerous blight violations at one time, and those have been corrected. And thankfully, somebody has brought the property and is bringing it up to compliance.
Yep, it's an improvement. So we're good? All right, Ms. Hall, anything? Nope. Mr. Silver? Mr. Crow? Mr. Cousins? Mr. Deacon? No, sir. No? Okay, is there anybody here from the public to speak for or against this application? No? Hearing none, there was one letter submitted by Daniel Bender, and it's against, and I generally don't read them, but I take quite exception. At the end of the letter, it says, even if it pays off for commissioners. I take great exception to that in all my years of dedication. It's insulting and embarrassing that somebody would actually write that. They should be ashamed of themselves, okay? So that being said, this is in the record. All right.
And just for the records, this person has been,
Give it any more oxygen.
oh, sorry.
So, I'll take a motion now to close the hearing.
So, so moved.
So moved. Is there a second? Mr. Silver, all in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take a motion to approve.
Motion to approve your application.
Second, Ms. Hall. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Congratulations. Thanks for improving the property.
Thank you.
Okay. Next. Okay, at this time, the acceptance of the minutes from the June 18 meeting.
Read the meeting minutes from June 18th and found them to be in their regular order. Make a motion to approve.
Second, Ms. Hall, thank you. Any further discussions? No, hearing none, all in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Abstain because I wasn't there.
And Mr. Silver abstained, so it's 4. There you go. And we already had the planner's report, right? So we're good? Okay. Again, congratulations, Rob. And, oh, I should have said it before. Welcome, Abby. It's her first meeting. Ms. Farrell, thank you very much. Did a great job. Thank you. All right, motion to close. Mr. Silver, is there a second? Mr. Deacon, all in favor, aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thanks for showing up.